from him. He'd used the W earlier on. And Astralis walk away with that one. Oh, we're going to get a look back.
He didn't have to do this to them observers, man. Like,
oh, God.
He had such a good game one. He's having a great game two as well. Scaled up on this Kassadin, but that TP can cost you everything in a game like this. Thankfully, they would still have one more. Sheo caught out down towards the bottom side. Not really sure how he ended up in this situation. And right now, yeah, he's not a happy chappy, is he, Vetty? Locked up by 113.
You know those movies where it like pauses and you're like, hey,
record scratch.
This is me. You may be wondering how I got in this situation. And we are, in fact, wondering. Sheo.
Dale flashes away. Ruthless Apprentice is still going to hit, though. Dale trying to survive, does have the stopwatch. Gravity Field going to do a little bit of work, but not enough. Chaos Storm still ticking at him. Should be able to survive it as Astralis now pushing the bottom lane. Finn going forward. Crownie has the dash, uses it to get away. The arrow just short, but the piercing arrow from Cobby takes half of Crownie's HP. And now Astralis will look to make it 3 tier 2s off this Baron push. Only 45 seconds left. They won't be able to get too much more out of it, especially with Dale being dead. But they will secure all of the tier 2s, and with it, about a 6,500 gold lead.
And the damage from Kobe is terrifying right now. And the biggest problem that Astralis are going to have is accessing the river. The dragon is up very, very shortly. And with the push that they have in the bot lane, the push they have in mid, and with with Dior having TP rather, Astralis should be able to secure this one. BDS are trying to force their way in though. Adam face checking with the assistance of Labrov. Crownie taking so much damage from the Maokai saplings. And
what do we have
looking for a flank.
What do we have in terms of summoners here, Betty? Sheo no flash, Adam none either. Nukes is on its way back off cooldown.
Has everything.
Not there yet. Crownie, as you say, has everything. Dale, no flash, but flashes across the board for the rest of Astralis, especially on Finn. You can see he's built up that Mega Gnar. Sheo's going to try and mark him to make sure that Gnar can't get onto his backline, but Finn doesn't actually have anywhere to build up his rage any further, so he jumps into the middle of the pit with that blast cone. Adam pops the Dominus. Finn down towards the bottom side as Nature's Grass is used as well. Sheo's going to try and get in there, try to steal away this Mountain, but it's secured by 113. And now with the Mountain Soul, Nuke is forced up towards the top side. Finn dives in, Sheo gets across the wall, manages to escape. Crownie trying to put the damage down. The house goes wide, but Finn able to bet it all on winning this fight against Sheo. Sheo dodges across the wall, Finn follows him, and Sheo will fall to Dale.
An easy team fight for Astralis. Their composition works best when the opposition is forced to come into them, and that's exactly what they're able to do with the position that they have. BDS feel forced to fight for the soul, and so they're the ones looking for these flanks. They're the ones trying to get onto the back line, but Astralis just keep chipping away at their HP bars. Nuke didn't really find a good flank. Sheo couldn't gain access to the dragon. And you can see it, just look at Nuke at the top of your screen. Look at how he gets chipped away at by Kobe and Jonghoon as they just zone him away. The ultimate onto the Renekton into the Victor W to CC him up, and then Sheo, good Mega Gnar from Finn as well, as he's keeping Sheo away from the dragon. It's just so many tools and just so much crowd control that Astralis have to basically lock BDS down. The advantage of this type of composition in game one was their mobility. They could dance around Astralis, but now Astralis has said, well, we've decided to just bring way more CC. They've caught Crownie.
Crownie has the flash, but instead they go to Labrov, using the Mikhails. Didn't even finish Shurelia's here, just went straight Mikhails to try and get rid of some of that CC. The arrow, of course, the twisted advance. You talked about it in draft. You liked the fact that Astralis had more crowd control, more ability to lock down members of BDS. You can see BDS trying to respond to that, but Nuke is getting flanked by a very angry tree. Nuke will just walk away from this one, but he's forced away. And this is all that Astralis have been doing the entire game. Doesn't matter if your Kassadin's level 18, if you cannot get into the fight.
I mean, look at the position of BDS right now. They've got 3 on the top side of the map. They've got Crownie pushing in the top wave, Deep Vision being dropped by the Karma. Pings are literally coming down from Astralis being like, I don't know what he's doing over here, but I think the goal is to create a flank opportunity for Nuke. He does, of course, have the teleport. Astralis should have an idea that the ward is there, and Sheo now deep in enemy lines. The arrow will connect with the clone. Sheo
coming in,
looking to make his escape.
So Sheo was spotted by a hawk shot. I will say the arrow was great, but they didn't know where the location where Sheo was as he falls to Cobby's damage. Yep, it's just a Muma kill, Betty. You can take him down in one arrow. I've seen it in the movies.
Owie, owie.
Owie, owie.
Owie, owie, owie. Kobe really is doing his best Legolas impression right now. Clean shot from him, and that should be a clean Baron for Astralis. They're looking to tie us up in this series. This elimination, best of 3, the winner will move on for match against Mad Lions. The loser will be eliminated from the winter split. And good adaptation from Astralis from game 1 to game 2.
That's why best of threes are just so much fun to watch, because we do see this. We saw it last week as well from both these teams. Both of them lost their respective first games and then bounced back and were able to take the second game against rivals that perhaps you would expect them to lose to. You know, G2 took a game off, BDS took a game of G2, Astralis took a game off Mad Lions. The winner of this, of course, does face Mad Lions tomorrow alongside, what's the other match that happens tomorrow? The other best of 3?
Mad Vitality.
Mad Vitality?
No, it's Vitality.
Vitality SK. Vitality SK, yes, sorry.
But Vitality and Mad are the 2 teams waiting.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
But the other best of 3 is SK Vitality.
Yes.
SK Vitality.
A lot of letters, Medic.
Yeah,
hard.
it's tough, you know?
Especially when they're not in alphabetical order. It's just...
I can do them when they're in alphabetical order, I'll be on.
I
A,
agree
B,
with
C, E, D, G,
okay.
F.
Nice try. You did say E before D, but yeah. But it's okay. I won't hold that against you forever.
It's 10 p.m., it's my bedtime, man.
Someone clip that? Thanks. Thank you. Someone just pinged me being like, clipped it, don't worry.
Depper's going to put it in the outro at the end of the day.
You said it with such confidence, too. A, B, C, E, D.
Almost as if it was deliberate, Betty. Almost.
That doesn't seem
almost
logical.
as if it was for the bit.
No,
okay.
not a chance.
I would never do that. I don't understand comedy well enough. As Astralis understand, they want to close out with this Baron buff. 2 minutes left on it. Inhibitors tower already down in the mid lane. The one in the bottom lane will be raised to the ground as well. Both the inhibitors will fall. You can see Adam trying to make sure it can't be a 3-lane push by Astralis by pushing out the wave himself. But now he has to join his team. TP behind here by Nuke. And looking for something. Adam, I think, is teleporting as well. Now, this is a very long flank, and your base might be in tatters before you get there. Already one Nexus tower down. Adam now trying to go in. Finn looking for the Mega Gnar, but he's gone into the mini-Gnar form. Nuke trying to get onto Kobe, but Kobe is surviving, and he just can't kill him yet. Nuke dives in once again. Already Sheo's fallen. Kobe survives. Nuke goes down. Absolutely atomized by Astralis. A double for Dale. Crowny can only stand and watch as his base lies in ruins. And we go all the way to game 3.
(1-1-3) all split long has not played the Maokai.
Yep.
In his final game, potentially the elimination game, he does bring it out. And the impact that we saw it able to have throughout the game shows why Maokai is considered such a strong pick. They're unlikely to get it again. But yeah, I like the adaptation that we saw from Astralis. Now it's BDS that have to bring something new to the table. Their Olaf was taken away. They even got themselves the Ezreal and the Kassadin once more, but this time it didn't work. There was a lot more utility on the side of Astralis to help keep them contained and keep them in control. And Astralis just had a much better early game. The bot lane was going very well. They had push in mid, they had push in top, they had push in bot. It's been less of a thing in the current meta, but back in the day, 3 winning lanes meant a win game, and Astralis proved why that is the case today.
It definitely worked out for them. I think we're going to hand it over to Gulborg, who's standing by with the Telestrator. Break it down, Gulborg.
Thank you very much.
Lines tomorrow in another best of 3, and hopefully make it to the playoff stage where only our top 4 will fight out over 4 days to see who is the champion of winter. BDS have selected the blue side, which means they will remove Caitlyn first. Zeri taken away by Astralis.
Let me guess. Caitlyn, Lucian, Zeri, Ashe, Maokai, Sejuani, Elise, Olaf.
Okay, that's too many
How close am I?
You've got everything now, but you've got 2 more choices, Betty.
Well, then it'll probably be...
Is it Maokai?
I don't think they'll ban Maokai, no.
Is it Sejuani?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of... Do you know what this has told me? Adam has been... They blind picked Gnar, and Finn said, I don't think Adam is a counter pick to Gnar. And then they pick Renekton into it. And then it's like, okay, cool. And now, them banning Gnar suggests they don't have an answer to
Renekton
Gnar.
didn't work, okay? He was like 2,000 gold ahead by the end of the game, Adam. Just really couldn't have an impact. Will Astralis remove the Olaf? We saw that in game 2. Instead, the Elise taken away from Sheo. So where do BDS go? Do you look towards something like the Maokai first, or do you get yourself the Karma? And once again, maybe Karma Varus towards the bottom lane. Astralis here, I mean, it's got to be Varus +1, otherwise you're dealing, like, Karma Varus is so oppressive in the laning phase.
I mean, sure.
Sedge plus Varus?
But Maokai's up. 1-1-3, thoughts? I know you like Sejuani, but what about Maokai? You know, really great game on it last game, really powerful, and you know they're probably gonna, okay, well, they're probably gonna put Ezreal with that Karma, because it's kind of good into Sejuani. when Maokai was up, yeah. Okay, fine. Sejuani, you can do your Sejuani. You know, we'll evaluate more once we see the entire comp. But if you locked Ezreal in right now, I'm going to be very upset with you, 113. Oh,
Obviously, a team decision from Astralis. 113 can lead the decision.
That's fine. It can be a team decision. I'm mad at Astralis. He's picked Ezreal 2 games in a row. Game 1, the problem was that they didn't have enough utility to lock down the Ezreal cast in. Part of the reason for that was because they had Sejuani. They resolved that by locking a Maokai in last game. And then, of course, he picks Karma, and he's going to lock in an Ezreal with it, and they could have just done a Maokai. Right,
but
fine. Don't pick Maokai.
They have more CC, though, from the AD carry role with the Chain of Corruption from Varus.
True,
Olaf
sure.
locked in for BDS, so where do Astralis go? Do you go top and look for something safe into the Olaf? Sion, you know, will probably be banned out by BDS if you leave it for phase 2. Kled was banned in game 1, and Blomster Finn was his name all those years ago when it was a Kled one-trick. Finn brings out the mounted Kled on top of Skarl, and we'll see how much damage you can do up towards that top side.
I think Astralis really needs something to protect Kobe from this Viking. What that is, I don't really know. I was gonna say like a Karma would be great, but that's not an option. I wonder if something like a Soraka could be good.
Yeah, the problem with Soraka is you suffered the same fate that Jonghoon did on the Lux in game 1, where you just get run down. However, if the Olaf isn't huge, like in game 1 he built up a 40 CS lead because he was playing into a Sion, maybe this Kled can keep him under wraps enough that something like the Soraka could work, something like a Braum.
Here's what I will say. Astralis, their engage, solid.
Sure.
I still think they're kind of running into the same problem that they had in game 1, where like Kled isn't really that different from a Sion. Like sure, his ultimate's really big and everyone moves really fast, but in terms of actual utility, it doesn't really provide that much.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a way for your team to go in.
Does have more damage than the Sion as well.
I mean, for sure. It definitely has more of a side lane threat, and I definitely think it's a lane that you could even play around if you wanted to. I think it very much depends on... I do like the Kassadin ban a lot. I think that they recognize that if they do allow Kassadin Ezreal to come through from Team BDS, they just won't have enough utility. So that, to me, makes a lot of sense. The heavy prioritization now on Victor being banned away as well, I think Astralis could just go for something like an Azir here, a control mage. Of course, I think support makes way more sense.
Nautilus gives you some kill threat on towards the Karma. Also means you can, depth charge an Ezreal even if he jumps away. He's still going to get chased with that Nautilus ultimate. They
are just trying to stack up on utility and ways to win in the team fight.
Understandably.
It's not a huge amount of appeal for the Varus, but that's just something that Kobe's going to have to deal with. One of the advantages, I think you could argue, is that Olaf is right now separating himself from everyone else. You've got a lot of range with Azir and Ezreal, and Olaf doesn't really want to do that. He wants to dive in. So if he does, in fact, dive in, okay, pairing this up with the Wukong does make things a little bit better, because then you have the range from the Ezreal and the Azir, and then you've got the dive. Yeah, exactly. So that makes a little bit more sense. So now at least Adam has a dive buddy. I don't love Yone.
It's not going to happen. There's no AP. Like, there's no way you pick Yone.
You can't. No, you can't.
They can pick Aurelion Sol. They can also pick the Akali.
I like Akali.
It would just be old Aurelion Sol rather than new Aurelion Sol.
Oh, probably would be. Yeah, you're right.
But yes, it's Akali instead. We talked a little bit about it in the draft of game 1. The combination of a melee mid with a Sejuani can give you some kill threat because you managed to proc up that passive a little bit quicker. Sylas was the other option, but not many good ultimates for Dale to steal away.
No, Sylas was banned.
Oh, Sylas was banned, so it wasn't even an option.
No, he wasn't. I just like Akali into Ezreal, frankly. I think that Ezreal is a very squishy AD carry, and like, truth be told, there's not much that he can do to stop an Akali. So she has really easy access onto the backline. Once at level 6, you also have a lot of kill threat mid, but even, well, arguably even before that, you can force the Azir flash out. I don't know why I want to keep saying Sejuani. It's probably because my follow-up line was Sejuani plus melee champions means that she can easily proc her E and set up some nice CC. So, yeah, I do quite like Astralis' comp. I feel like BDS have just continued to go for what they've always gone for. The biggest difference now is that rather than having more mobility, they just have range. So with the Azir, you have a little bit more peel. You're a little bit more of the, well, not more on the scaling side, but you are a little little bit more defensive rather than looking to dive in alongside the Wukong and the Azir like you were on the Kassadin. But I think that Astralis is still pretty happy with the amount of utility that they have and the lockdown threat that they have. So yeah, we'll see if Astralis can look to make a reverse sweep effectively, or whether or not BDS can stay strong. We're in our final game of the best of 3. One team's eliminated, one team moves forward. Let's see who it is.
And here we go. Once again, BDS, all 5 players down towards this bottom side, want to make sure they gain priority in the lane. You can see Astralis, they're having none of this. They've gone towards the top side of the map. They'll get some vision in, make sure that there's no possibility of, well, they'll try and track where Sheo starts, but BDS actually might go in for this blue. Instead, they just clear out the wards. No wards actually placed here by Astralis up towards that top side, apart from that one that was just placed after I said that.
There was the bait ping there.
Yeah.
It's just funny. What are they bait pinging?
Maybe we could ward here. Maybe there is a ward there. We don't know.
But then you just ping.
I mean, you can ping whichever ping you want to use.
Who are they trying to bait?
I mean, it's the river, so maybe they're just going fishing.
Wait, hang on. Just I have to check this. I'm sorry, this is really important. What Akali skin is he using? This is really important.
It's on the screen, Veli.
Oh, it's on the screen? I think that's Headhunter Akali.
It does look like Headhunter to me.
I mean, it's a fine choice. It's fine. It's not my favorite.
We can take some scalps.
And my evaluation of Dior has, you know, greatly been reduced. But it's okay. Hook.
Ooh. Just short.
Ooh.
Best Nautilus skin, by the way, if we're talking about skins.
Oh, really?
Fight Night Nautilus. I prefer the purple chroma. Oh, the purple, like, base skin. But Lebov's trying to trade in here. Copy. Put some damage back.
What's the hook cooldown right now?
It's not up yet. I think it's about 4 seconds away.
The cooldown early level's 14 seconds.
Yeah.
So there's a very long window, of course, where you can just look to bully, which is exactly what BDS was looking for. But naturally, they will have the push. And once again, Sheo doing his standard full bot side clear, as 113 is doing the same in the top side. Nothing too chaotic. I don't expect a gank in the top lane. He may, well, I was going to say he could consider an invade, but I don't really think there's much of a push in top, and mid definitely doesn't have a push. Maybe he is actually looking for a gank. I originally thought that the wave was pushing in Finn's favor, but that's not entirely true.
Ward comes out. Well, Ward's already down there.
But
so
he knows that
backs
oh,
away.
yeah, okay. I was
Clears out the ward with his sweeper.
That was already spotted out earlier, so he should have known that that was there, and he in fact did. That's why he sweeped it out. Now he's moving on to the blue.
Yep.
Ooh.
Just steps in, checks to see if it's taken, now comes back.
Is it a Bazinga?
They're looking to try and catch out Adam here. Permafrost will CC him. Obviously no Ragnarok on him yet. Goes back, comes back. Finn looking for the chase here. Bear trap on a rope. Before that chase, they lock him up underneath the tower. Permafrost procced. Flail of the Northern Winds is enough. Finn tanks it. And then manages to escape. Sheo's on his way. Finn recalling. Sheo will be spotted as he comes out, and Finn realizes he may not be in the best of shapes. Jump forward, out of vision. Sheo flashes forward, gets a counter. And now Sheo should be able to chase 113 away from this. The Arctic Assault just get some distance because Adam TP'd back in. Finn will be back up in 3 seconds and can still catch that wave. Dale trading with Nuke in the mid lane, has to flash. The soldiers doing the Emperor's work there as Dale is forced low.
Okay, this early game, a lot is happening right now. Wasn't expecting that gank in top lane, but very well played by 113, trying to get Finn ahead in the matchup. They were able to find that first blood, and I thought it was very well played from the both of them. They knew they could dive in the early game because of how the tower aggro resets, but now Sheo is hovering. They're trying to get this wave underneath the tower. Oh, but Finn!
Joust forwards, joust backs, missed the bear trap on a rope.
It's fine, yeah. I was really worried that pressing that E could have been a death sentence, but...
You get a second charge of it if you go through someone.
Yes, exactly. You do get that second charge, so I underestimated Finn there. He was, in fact, much safer than I gave him credit for. The wave, though, still in a decent spot. Should still push, but now 113 making a return visit to top lane.
Yeah, Adam doesn't have ult. Even though bear trap on the rope misses here, there is nothing Adam can do in this situation. I love this from Astralis, just constantly isolating Adam. 113 comes up. He could have gone bot side. That's what you expect. He's recalled after clearing his top side camps. Go to blue, Sejuani. But that's not what you do in the new jungle. You just gank, 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 gank.
You, I felt like that was a very personal message there, but
I've been on the receiving end of this so many times in the bot lane.
It's just nice that the jungler's not coming bot for a change.
Yeah, thankfully.
But I mean, it's great to see. I expected this series to be about the bot side of the map.
Again.
And Astralis is looking to gank once more. Yonghoon has joined his jungler.
There's no vision.
There is no vision.
Now, the wave is stacking up. This could be a dive. Obviously, diving in Olaf, not the easiest thing to do, but you have a lot of CC.
No.
Finn's going to push this wave in. Still half.
Finn is very close to 6, actually. I'm keeping my eye on the XP bar. Could he maybe get it off of this wave?
I don't think so. I think he's going to be a little bit short. He jousts in, jousts back. Bear trap on a rope does proc grievous
not quite,
wounds
but he
here.
should take the aggro so he can get the reset off.
Oh, Adam. Finn takes the aggro, gets, well, 113 takes the aggro, gets reset. Finn takes the kill, and Adam is looking at 0-3, 5.5 minutes into this game.
He's just getting hard camped, and it's working. Like, how could BDS respond on the map? Sure, they're pushing in the bot lane. Sheo now going for a cross-map invade to maybe steal away some of those bot side camps. Is level 5, has a full level over 113. This is the downside. Sure, you get, wait, what? I mean, I guess he's afraid because they've just gone back to base. They're resetting on the map. I guess he's saying, I don't know if I can clear these fast enough to actually steal away the camps. But there's really little to break down here. It's a very clean dive. They actually have one. I think the reason why 113 tanks the tower is because Finn is the main damage source here, right? So you want his passive to land onto Adam. You want to make sure that he's the one getting all the damage off. And 113, look, he's going to apply the passive. We don't have time to fight the bot lane.
The Brav has pushed a little bit too far forward here. They were keeping Kobe away from the tower, but all their good work has been for naught. Kobe evens out the gold in that bottom lane, and Astralis got another kill. 113 has been everywhere on the map, and Sheo just can't keep up.
I mean, 113 has said, camps, useless. Ganking is my profession now, and it is working beautifully.
He's averaging 1 camp a minute.
Yeah.
He's had like
Do you know what else
4.5
he's doing?
camps
He's
in 7
averaging
minutes
1 kill a minute too, Medic.
Crazy.
That's not quite accurate, but it sounds good. So,
oh, yeah, nor was mine actually.
He was
16 camp, 4 camps in like 7 minutes.
Stats are close enough, and that's all that matters. Medic Astralis find themselves with a 1.5k gold lead, and they have advantages top, they have advantages bot. I thought the Kobe would actually set up a freeze in the bot wave, but it doesn't matter. This wave should bounce back towards them, and great stuff from Astralis in the early game.
But that's the big thing, right? If you're spending so much time killing Adam in the top lane, BDS say, well, okay, we'll get a plate in the bot lane and we'll force Kobe away from the CS. And they did exactly that. Kobe was like 500 gold in the hole before Lebrov died. But because Lebrov overstepped, got caught out, however that happened while we were watching the replay, it just evens out everything, and Astralis have had their cake, and they've eaten it too in this early game. Nuke now can just dash across this wall, we'll get out to safety, but it's just such a strong demonstration from Jonghoon and 113 at what ganking early can do and what putting lanes behind can do for you as a team.
I mean, there is, of course, a massive risk with this style from 113 in that if the ganks don't work, you just fall behind horrendously.
Just
but
outhands them, man.
You know, the ganks have been working, and now Adam getting zoned out. Look, they've sent 4 to the top lane. Hook
Sheo gets hooked. Dale's on his way as well, the perfect execution of possibility. Sheo tries to get to the wall, but Dale slays him where he stands. Lebrov joins the party, but it's just not enough for BDS. Adam continues to be forced away from his tower.
Observers, can you very quickly show us the top wave? How much is Adam losing right now? Look at this massive wave that's just being completely denied. A plate will not be collected by Finn, but it's worth it in that he is just denying Adam so much. Level 5 to level 8. Adam can't get anywhere near the tower. This is everyone in solo queue has experienced this at least once in their life, and now we're witnessing it live in a professional game.
Oh,
it's so much. It's just bleeding away.
C'est pas bien for Adam right now in that top lane. The plate
it's painful to watch.
It's another wave!
And he's back in base.
Go, Adam?
So he is doing. So Cadril told me this, and so did Yamato actually. He's got double his gold. He's literally got double his gold.
Holy man.
But Yamato and Cadril, I've had the pleasure of playing duo queue with both of them, and weirdly enough, I've been in this situation with both of them. And both of them always say, when top is doomed, forget top. They used a different word, but forget top. And so you just roam. You just roam instead. You roam somewhere else on the map. You look for a play, you look for a pick, you look for anything. You group up with your jungler, and you try and do something. Because sitting top lane is really not going to net you any type of advantage. You're just going to lose more. So you may as well use your time to try and find a pick, find a play, something else on the map. He was able to catch a wave. But don't be surprised to see Adam looking for crazy TP plays bot lane, maybe trying to force an early dragon, just doing things to kind of catch Astralis off guard so that so that
They can do something on
so
it.
that they can do something, and at the very least, like one shutdown is all Adam needs to maybe get back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, because the problem for Adam is Finn has finished his Mythic. That's an Eclipse on the Kled, and Adam doesn't have those little goggles that give you, the small pinpoints of vision, as Deo is caught out in the mid lane. So Adam can't stare into that Eclipse on Finn. It's going to be so difficult for him to ever deal with that lane. Instead, he comes down towards this river. You saw Deo escaping with his flash. Glacial Prism used. 113 will smite away the dragon. Adam does now have the Ragnarok, but won't use it to chase any further. And Astralis, once again, get everything as Crownie stepped forward and was caught in the chains of corruption, shackled to his doom. And Astralis are running the map, Betty.
It's crazy how quickly this game has exploded for Astralis. We have not seen an early game like this. Well, it was the Astralis Fnatic game where we last saw an early game like this. 113 was just completely controlling the jungle and dominating in the early game. It resulted in a massive stomp for Astralis. But I think coming into this series, people did not expect Astralis to be the favorites. And for them to have such a convincing performance against BDS like they're having right now, incredible to see. And what are the options really for Adam, for this team, as they're put so far behind in the early game? I thought that Adam maybe would try to set up a freeze in top lane so we could get some farm back, but look at Finn. We talked about getting out onto the map.
Just charge it.
Finn is looking for something bot lane. The dive is being set up. Sejuani is creating the flank.
And like a Kia, he's charged up. Is he going to be charging forward, Betty? Nope.
Did you just quote the lyrics of I Want the LEC Back?
Yes.
Is that what you just did?
Yes, I did. That would be movement that inspires if he did go in. But for the moment, just going to stay static as Deo trying to escape here in the mid lane. Nuke looks for the shuffle, lands it. TP coming in. Deo able to dodge away, and everything to BDS is just nullified by Deo. Adam is able to push in a wave in the top lane, but Finn can charge up there and catch it. Doesn't even need to use the ultimate. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, 113 and Cobby wail away at this tower. That's going to be a second full turret by 12 minutes, about 15 seconds or so. And credit not only to Finn, but also to 113. We doubted this Sejuani pick in game one. He had no effect on the map, but here in game 3, he's been involved in every single kill his team has acquired. Jonghoon dashes away, and even against the support, BDS can't find purchase.
Things are falling apart. 12.5 minutes in,
It's a
113
three-level goal, the three-level
will
lead,
have his completed item.
Oh, the
Finn
bear trap.
lands the bear trap.
Brings him back, lets Grievous Wounds prot. The Eclipse coming in as well, and Adam flashes away.
Damn, chooses to flash away rather than burn the ultimate. Wants to hold on to that for now. But Adam, it's one of those things where, like, I don't even think Adam necessarily did anything wrong, you know? He went to top lane, he got ganked. Cool. Sheo was able to trade back. Both top laners burn TP. Not the end of the world. It's not unreasonable for Adam to not expect to gank top when, as you rightly said, 113 did a full top side clear and then ganked top again.
Yeah, twice.
And then Jonghoon came the third time. And then Akali came the fourth time. You know, like, the man has just been relentlessly attacked. And BDS have not been able to trade anywhere else on the map, which means that Finn has snowballed. And what made it even worse was that 113 then he didn't even do his bot camps. He just ganked bot.
Just standing in the face here of BDS. That could get shuffled back, but even the True Shot Barrage, as it goes wide, wouldn't be enough to fell at that ball. It's a 6,000 gold lead. 13 minutes, 40 seconds in here, Betty.
And you know what I will say is last year, KC didn't have a good year. And I didn't get to watch all of their games, but I read a couple of the threads, and 113 was not... I would say that he wasn't given a lot of praise.
He wasn't if he was good books.
Yeah.
I agree.
And when it was announced that he'd be joining Astralis, a lot of optimism wasn't thrown his way. And admittedly, like, has he had a terrible split? No. Has he had an impressive split? Probably not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you clutch up when it matters, that's the thing that people remember you for,
100%.
right? And when you have a performance like this is the type of performance that will leave a lasting impact when it comes to your career. Being able to eliminate BDS from the winter split, move your team forward into what is effectively the top 6 of the LEC, is definitely... I mean, props to him for being able to persevere through it.
Especially, it's the first time Astralis has been in the bracket stage of any LEC competition as well. You know, they're here in their 5th split. They make it to the bracket stage. They're not the first team to be eliminated. If they win this game, obviously, things are looking very good for them right now. And then you have the chance to take on Mad Lions tomorrow. You have the chance to have another performance like this and begin
to... Would be a rematch, I believe.
It would.
Have another opportunity to play against the Mad Lions, who fell short to G2. But of course, Astralis still need to end this game. Obviously, Medic and I right now are talking from a position where it looks like this game is done and dusted, and I'm sure many of you at home can understand why, given the massive gold deficit. I'm not going to say that BDS can't win this game, but on average, teams normally don't.
Yeah, especially 6,000 gold behind in 15 minutes. It tends to be a little bit of a struggle.
If we were to look up the stats of teams that have won from a 6K gold deficit at 15 minutes, the number of those wins is probably fairly low.
True. I will also mention, as you see on your screen right now, I forgot about this because BDS won the first game so convincingly. Charge going away here by Finn, flashes away from the Cyclone as well. We'll get rooted for a second, tries to turn it back around, and looks like nothing's going to come from that play. But yeah, Goldberg drinks a shoey, a Red Bull out of Finn's shoe after this game. Jonghoon coming in with the depth charge. Lebrov, the target for him, does have the flash, but has no time to use it. Bear trap on the road, went wide. Lebrov will not burn his flash, though, realized his fate was already sealed. TP behind, but what's this gonna do, Adam? Tries to pop the Ragnarok and just runs away as quickly as his little legs can carry him, but it's not quickly enough. The permafrost lands once again. Dale comes in from the side. The slide back, perhaps Astralis have gone a little bit too deep. 113 will fall. Only the second kill of the game for BDS, and Astralis bit off a little more than they could chew.
I thought Dior was actually gonna dive that and just kill everyone. People were low enough that his ultimate would have executed. Curious as to how Dior actually got into the fight. I saw him fly in with his E, chase down Crowny, didn't result in a kill, ended up being, I think, a 1-for-1 overall, but Astralis should be able to walk away with the Drake. What was a small skirmish exploded into a massive fight after BDS tried to find a pick onto Finn. That is the person you want to try and find a pick onto. Give you that shutdown gold, would give you a lot of experience as well.
Oh, Lebrov, now he has got the flash. And he doesn't need to use it because Dale will just jump back into the pit.
Thank you for sharing that information though, Medic.
Well, because it looked like Dale could, you know? He could. I didn't check to see if his ultimate was up.
I thanked you for sharing that information.
I appreciate you, Eddie. I appreciate you. Right now,
a lot of information.
Astralis are very thankful for 113 for sharing this gold around in the early game. We can see again this pick onto Lebrov. Really nowhere for him to move. He could try and flash, but where are you going to go? You're just going to get chased out. TP comes in behind, and I think Astralis go.
Oh, that's how he got into the fight.
Cute. That's cute. Take the shuriken.
I knew he came in from somewhere. I was just like, I swear his E followed.
Runeterra Airlines, or the best bit of parkour you've ever seen in your life. You know?
And then his R took him out, so that's what happened. Okay, I understand. But if he just flash R'd, Adam and Sheo die, just for the record.
I mean, sure, but also if he goes in, maybe he gets Emperor Divides, and then he gets CC'd or something.
I'm just saying, though, Akali's play for kills.
The guy just backflipped all the way over the map, and you're insulting him. What is this?
I'm not insulting him. I'm upset that he didn't murder everyone.
Well, currently, that has been Finn's job in-game. In-game.
Yeah.
7,000 gold the lead. 2 dragons to the good. Now, there's 4 minutes on the next Drake. The problem for Astralis, and it's a very minor one, a small pebble in their shoe right now, is that it's a little trickier at this point in the game to continue to take objectives. You can take the enemy's jungle by gaining some deep vision, but taking towers is a bit of a struggle at the 18-minute mark unless you manage to find a fight. So Astralis will just gain vision control. They'll probably turn their eyes back towards the dragon in 3 minutes. They could even look for an early Baron if they so desire.
I don't think this is going to be a struggle, Medic. I think they're just going to take it.
You think they're just going to walk into the lane?
They're just going to walk.
But then when you get to the inhibitor towers,
you know how many times I've seen teams throw on this lane, by the way?
Quite a few times.
Yeah,
not going to do it here, though. And they won't quite take the tower as of yet. Finn is pushing in the mid lane. Now, I saw a ping on the tier 1 in the bottom lane and wondered perhaps if there was a ward there that someone could teleport to, but no real opportunities for BDS to find that flank. And gold leads now 7,000, BDS. Curious.
Quite. This is where normally I would say something intellectual, such as a thing they could do with waves or minions, but instead, I'm going to enjoy the silence.
I'm sure there's lots of fans at home that are enjoying it too.
Enjoy the sound of the rift, Medic. Peaceful, serene.
Yeah, it's kind of my job to...
No.
All right.
Just waiting for that one guy in all chat to type report bot top, actually probably a report,
yeah,
top,
report top,
useless top.
I mean, it's 4 minutes past the FF time, so
true.
Obviously, someone thinks it's still winnable.
No, right? Adam's probably typing still winnable. We can scale.
But if you are BDS, you can scale. We'll give them the small ray of hope. This is that 30-second window where we say, hey,
you're really
BDS,
optimistic today,
you're
huh?
7,000 goal behind, but maybe you can win. You do have an Azir, you do have an Ezreal, you have this
True.
CC threat, and you've got the Karma to keep you safe. It is a very minute possibility, but a possibility it is nonetheless.
I mean, if we're talking about small possibilities, Astralis could unplug all of their keyboards and decide to stop playing. Yeah. There's also the possibility that Kobe does a backflip on stage. And yeah.
I don't feel I deserve that.
I'm
gonna be honest. Gave him 30 seconds, Betty.
No, I mean, you're right. You make valid points, Medic.
But yeah, they're gonna lose.
We live in the real world. You know what I mean? We live
do.
in the real world. And like, I'll be impressed. Like, if the most realistic way BDS win the game is Astralis play a bad Baron.
Sure.
That is by far and away the most realistic, because Astralis kind of need the Baron to end the game, and the longer they take to delay the Baron, the harder it is going to be for them to end, because as long as Crowny and Nuke continue to live, they're always going to have more than enough wave clear to at the very least defend their tier 3 towers. So Baron is more likely the place where Astralis could fumble, or an early Elf Drake. Those are the two areas that I'll be looking for. So right now is not really the window where I'd be looking at like BDS to make their big comeback. Right now, if you're BDS, you're literally just cowering in your base. You don't get to access your jungle. Your jungler doesn't get to do anything except share lane XP with someone. You're kind of waiting for someone to overstep or make a pick. And the person overstepping right now could very well be BDS.
Could be Labrov and Sheo. They are caught out. Death Charge going down onto Labrov. Cyclone used for the knocker, but Labrov is already down to half HP. Trying to get the Mantra W out here, but he's just not going to be able to survive. 113 takes them. And BDS licking their wounds once again. TP to the mid lane. Now, is this the fumbled Baron, Vedius?
Well, this is kind of what they're hoping for, but
don't need to do it. Just go to the dragon.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's also fine. But BDS, this is why you can't really move anywhere other than your base, because Astralis own everything. They've got wards everywhere. They have complete control over the map, and you don't get to really do things unless you're very confident as to where Astralis is. So, for example, Sheo right now can do his topside camps, while Astralis do Baron, because you're pretty confident as to where they are, and the top lane can be pushed out, because again, you know Astralis is on the bot side of the map. Adam's the one that's at the most danger right now. He'll probably try and catch these waves and then back off. And it looks like he's going to do that right now. But yeah, your best bet right now is to hope that Astralis make a fumble, which is never the position you really want to be in when you're in an elimination match. But the early game was just so good from Astralis that it's a very difficult game to be able to bounce back from. There is always the scaling argument, but you're going to have to scale for a long time. And even that argument...
Yeah, they don't 100% definitely win like a fully equipped fight.
Even if that Azir is 3 items, like, I can still see ways in which Astralis can quite comfortably win the 5v5, so...
Well, we'll have to see if BDS are able to delay this game any further. 8,000 gold the lead, 4 minutes on the Infernal Soul. We'll give credit once again to 113. 8 out of 8 kill participation so far this game. It's definitely been the driver for Astralis' success, at least in this match. Finn as well had a very good end to the split after at times being a little bit disappointing throughout the course of the regular season. But his gangplank game against SK that pulled them back from the brink, that really got them into that final berth in the group stage, is once again showing just how much he can perform when it really comes down to the crunch. Baron started up. Where are the TP wards? Well, Adam's in the bottom lane and he doesn't have teleport, so it doesn't really matter where the ward is because he wouldn't be able to go to it anyway. However, Astralis, they don't want to do that one anymore. They'll go back, let Dayor push in the bottom lane. And as that wave crashes towards the tower and they know that Adam is having to answer it, Dayor with his teleport could rejoin. And Astralis can look to perhaps find a pick because Dayor has flanked all the way behind Crowny here. And even with the cleanse, you're not going to get away from the Akali. Crowny tries to escape, but Dayor finds his man. Another kill over to Astralis. And now with the AD carry down, it becomes even trickier for BDS. Younghoon flash hook, a flash away from Labrov to survive. But survive is all he can do and can't really influence the play much more.
Crowny being dead makes contesting this Baron a lot harder. He is a lot of their range, a lot of their poke. And it looks like, are they really going to give this one up? It looks like that they are. They're saying that, hey, if we fight this and we lose, we're just going to lose the game. So instead, we'll go for a base defense. So the BDS game plan now becomes, let's hope that Astralis make a mistake on the siege. Again, we have seen these sieges falter before, but with this kind of gold difference, it becomes a very challenging affair. We're going to look back at the pick. Really nice ultimate from 113. This is the vision perspective from Astralis right now. Crowny doesn't see the ultimate coming. He is able to react with the cleanse, but Dior moves up from bot lane into mids. And again, it's one of those situations where you think you're safe because you're near enough to your base, but when I say that you don't control anything, I really mean you don't control anything. The Fog of War is so powerful, and because you can't get vision anywhere, it's very difficult for you to really go. I mean, Crowny's overextended again.
It does have the flash, has the arcane shift as well on the Ezreal, but as you say, no vision means that 113 could just jump out of the bushes and catch you out. Shea's going to try and take his Razor Beaks. They know Dale's down towards the bottom lane, so that risk of a flank is a little bit less. Maybe they try and catch Finn, but very difficult to catch. A Skarl, known for being cowardly, is the reptile that Kled rides on. Even though the general charges him forward, he's always able to retreat when needed.
Adam has been able to find 2 items. Oh, hang on a second. Sheo pops the ultimate.
Cyclone going down as well. Sheo is a little bit isolated here. Crowny tries to put some damage down, but Sheo does just have to pop the ultimate to escape. Jonghoon was looking for a little bit more damage. Astralis continue to push in. 3 waves is their intent. You can see Finn and Dayor splitting 1-3-1. A very old concept in League of Legends, but still very effective if you are in this sort of position. Trying to sync up those waves. At the moment, only top and bot are synced up, and the Azir is dealing with the bottom wave. Adam's going to try and deal with the top, but doesn't really have that much damage as of yet, even though, as you say, has managed to acquire 2 items, Vedi.
The idea is to divide and conquer, just spread BDS as thin as possible. The problem with not syncing the waves up is, of course, that they don't have to divide. They can just, you know, congregate, clear, and then move around. Adam actually looking for a fight here.
Charge away from Finn. Adam's just trying to trade onto this. Finn will be able to win the 1v1. Misses! Oh, Adam gets the shield as well, and Finn is shut down. Meanwhile, though, Astralis will push in the bottom lane. You can see Dale trying to take this tower. Nuke's going to try and answer it. 113 waiting in the wings. Can blast cone in. Shuriken just short. Mid lane inhibitor tower falling very low as well and will be felled by Astralis. So they get 1 inhibitor tower out of it. Finn pays for it with his life. But Astralis now going to back away. Only 14 seconds though on the Dragon, Vedi, and Finn 30 seconds away from respawning.
Yeah, that's 1 blunder that BDS was able to find. Good punish onto Finn. Adam, the fact that he was able to walk away with his life is impressive for sure. Astralis, though, still in a better position. The Dragon hasn't been started off and the TP's coming in. BDS with the numbers advantage, feel confident. But remember, TP is available for Finn, and he will be looking to join the fight. Kobe sitting in the Fog of War.
No ultimate for Finn if he does join the fight. Dale sitting down towards the bottom side. He's going to be matched by Adam. And look at the damage already. The Broth just burst in the river. Death charge coming out as well as Adam tries to keep Dale on the ropes. 113 going forward. Crowny able to escape. Finn now going to join. The Emperor tries to divide it. But at the moment, he is getting shredded where he stands. Forced away once again. Now, Sheo's going the long way around. Perhaps looking for a steal here. Doesn't have the flash. Nuke. What? Takes an arrow to the back.
I didn't even see that arrow.
Nor did Nuke, it seems, as he's atomized. Adam trying to trade onto Finn, but a 2-level disadvantage is not helping him at all. Adam has the Ragnarok. Crowny has a few mystic shots to play with. Dale stepping forward. Crowny, 5-point strike. Crowny trying to turn this back onto Dale, but the Infernal Soul comes in, and it's enough for Dale to secure the kill. With a stopwatch as well, he can delay the inevitable. As BDS get wiped away, 4 dead. The Infernal Soul sitting in Astralis' front pocket.
Frustration on the faces of BDS as they realize what is happening. A convincing stomp for Astralis will move them forward in the group stage.
28 minutes in, and with a 13,000 gold lead, doesn't really get more convincing than this, Vedius. After faltering in game 1, Astralis would not be felled. They stood tall, and they will make a match with Mad Lions tomorrow. They'll clean BDS up one more time to do it as Astralis advance.
big problem for me when I look across the Vitality is when you're over on the red side, I feel like Elise and Ash have to be banned away. I think both these guys are going to be incredibly strong in it. I feel like Vitality have to always ban Caitlyn in this series regardless of what side they're on. So I think it just opens up opportunities for SK to be a little bit more flexible. We've seen Karma banned away against Vitality every single time because that's kind of a fix-all for the bottom side for Neon and Kaiser. So now you look at the Elise, now you look at the Ashe as well, and suddenly SK still have options like the Lucian Nami that they can play in bot line, the Zeri Lulu that they can go for as well, and even things like Irrelevance Jax are still going to be left up on the cards as well.
I mean, let's get this bot lane focus as well as the Ashe banned away. Lucian is removed from the pool. And now that Zeri is the one I'm looking at. Don't forget for the fact that Neon has also played 2 Sivir games. He's got that Xayah under his belt throughout the course of the winter split. And for SK, what will be this final ban? Maokai still open and available?
I think it should be the Elise here, and then chances are Photon will just take the Maokai off rip here. But actually going to be the Jace, okay? So maybe thinking, hey, look, at least we can get our hands on something here, but the Elise is going to be taken, and then I imagine you go over towards the Maokai yourself just to try and set up for still matching the AP jungler in mid, and then giving yourselves opportunity to look for these big team fights in the later stages.
Maokai's going to be an interesting one for me throughout the course of this best of 3 because Bo doesn't have any games on it this winter. And while he has played a few of them in other regions, it's definitely not the likes of that Kindred, the Graves, the carry-style champions. So Exakick will be locking in that Zeri. We'll be able to complement it with one of those enchanters. But I think for Exakick and DOS, these are the 2 players that truly have impressed this winter.
And I think we even got a bit of a call out there for the bot lane on Neon as well, saying, look, you're going to go towards the Varus, right? We've already read you, and I think it's a good call. Zeri, you're going to have the Lulu paired with it. Exakick and DOS have looked fantastic on it, and especially when you look at like the Ashe, the Lucian, the Caitlyn taken off the boards as well. I think you just set up Exakick now to be your big late game carry. And now with the Sylas in the mid lane, I'm a little bit more surprised at this. I thought we'd end up with something where you can go AD in the mid lane for perks, but with the Jace banned away, you're still setting up for an incredibly strong 2v2 that you can look to play through, and I think that's probably the secret sauce for Vitality if they hope to beat SK.
The thing that I'm very intrigued by is how Certus will be able to match up and try to contain perks. I think this is one of the lanes or one of the specific player matchups that can have a big influence.
And I think especially when you look at how Koi played against Certus as well, Larson taking over in the lane, using that influence then to move around the map, it was a big factor in why SK weren't able to get the ball rolling in game 1 versus Koi. And I think that's where we're probably going to be looking at Bo and Perks with this Elise, with this early aggressive play around Sylas being able to follow up to try and make Certus uncomfortable again and do exactly what Larson did in that first game as well.
And Perks is already ecstatic with the potential abilities that he can steal away for the fact that the Lulu, the Maokai, as well as that Zeri are locked in phase 2 of the draft. Kassadin finds himself in the ban pool. Definitely a champion that is rising in priority here during the course of our group stage. While another support pick, another bot laner is banned away, Kaiser's Nautilus, and now the final one will be Olaf as well.
Okay, so this says to me that you're probably looking at K'Sante for the top side. Photon's already played the Olaf in the top lane, so I imagine going for that K'Sante is where Relevant is thinking. Could also just default to something like a Gnar as well, which does struggle against the Olaf, but I think your options here are still fairly open for what you want to do on that top side. I imagine that we're going to look at like a Ryze or something along these lines for Certus in this mid lane, even the Azir still being left open. Just kind of go, hey, look, I just want to push and not interact with you. And as long as I can keep Perks in check, it becomes a lot easier for Marcoon to kind of do his thing on the map without having Bo and Perks getting in his face.
I mean, when we look at this winter, Certus has also got the Talia played under his belt, something that can have the ability to move around the map and have that influence. But just as a sort of a play style or champion pool, Certus has got a wide variety. His top 5, top 10 have got those control mages, he's got those assassins in the pool, and it will be Certus saving last pick into whatever the draft is. It'll be Jack's top.
And I think just hitting on wider champion pools, I think Irrelevant has done a really good job of widening his as well. Has been very strong on that top side, playing that weak side. The Jax has been something that has been consistently banned against him in the top lane, and now he's got his hands on it. You're going to have to see if Photon on this gangplank can have an answer to it. I think SK struggled a little bit the last time we saw the Jax there for Irrelevant, as they do rely on him to be that tanky frontline engaged style, but certainly this now gives Marcoon options to try and play around that top side if Exakick and DOS are just able to get control against Neon and Kaiser anyway.
And in terms of comfort and experience, this is Photon's 3rd ever game on Gangplank. Both of his two previous attempts are losses, and Kaiser will find himself piloting Alistair. So zoom out a little bit. What do you think of this team composition? It's a slightly different look to most of what we've been seeing here in Winter.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by Nian and Kaiser going for the Alistair in this bot side. You're kind of counterpicking yourself. One of the things Lulu can do is whimsy you as the Alistair as you go in and you end up just headbutting the AD carry to safety. So I think the big one here is trying to get more presence from Bo down towards this bottom side once more, especially on the Elise. You have that early game pressure, and it looks like with Certus going for the Cassiopeia here, everything on Vitality wants to get into your face. Very, very short range composition. So Certus opting in towards the Cassiopeia. It's a great matchup against the Silas, and as well gives you that peel that you really want for people like Exakick in this comp.
A lot of zone control as well when you consider the Maokai, the Cassiopeia, long range, relatively safe engage tools from the side of SK Gaming. But for Team Vitality, you really have to go all in. When you look at how they initiate those potential team fights, there's no super strong like front line in that regard. Cannon Barrage or Chain of Corruption or bust.
Yeah, I think that's the combo, right? It's Cannon Barrage into allowing Alistair to close the distance to get that set up, and then Alistair with the Unbreakable Will becomes your front line. But I think you've got loads of tools here on SK to try and answer for that, with both the mid and jungle providing great peel tools, great opportunities for the Zeri to try and kite away. You've got good setup with the Lulu as well. That makes it very difficult for Vitality to play. So Vitality kind of need to get the ball rolling early and play for side lanes.
If SK play like they did yesterday during the laning phase, and they do not shore up some of those weaknesses, this could get scary very fast, because the combination of Elise plus Silas, Elise plus GP can be devastating. Those Vitality fans are here looking to fade Vitality going to playoffs.
And it has to be on Bo, it has to be on Perks. They need to disrupt Marcoon in the same way we saw yesterday from Heretics, but it's a tall order. SK beat them in regular season. We'll have to see if now Vitality will get the revenge.
Waiting to finally hit the rift here for the final day of group stage. Team Vitality and SK Gaming, do or die. Let's load up. As we do once again find ourselves on a Summoner's Rift. I really, really like the focus that we talked about during the draft in terms of Bo, managing to have an impact, managing to get either Photon or Perks ahead. And I think once we do get to those later stages, the skirmishes and the team fights, when I look at the combination that SK have put together, I just see a simpler to execute draft, and that does give me a little bit of nerves.
Yeah, I think for SK, the big one for me is now starting to shift their focus a little bit more towards these early game objectives. When you actually look at SK, they haven't been highly focused on Rift Heralds or even Dragons. They're the lowest Rift Herald and Dragon percentage when you look at teams in groups at the moment. So I really want to see them with this composition use the fact you should have pushed in mid. You've got great team fighting when you hit that level 6 to try and force objective fights in these stages where you can actually start to then draw Vitality into these Dragons, because one of the big weaknesses, and well, I won't say weaknesses, I think it's been a bit coin flippy honestly for Vitality, is they're willing to give up early objectives so they can play for towers and play for advantages elsewhere. So if SK aren't really putting that restraint on them, putting that timer on them by forcing early Dragons, Vitality will be happy to just play out the map.
And of course give that Gangplank as well as that Silas time to scale, time to pick up all the gold and items they're looking for. Little tidbit, this is the first time ever in the LEC that Vitality and SK have actually met in a best of series. And I mentioned it a moment ago that for SK Gaming yesterday, their early game was a struggle. They played Heretics, they were down 1,300 gold on average at that 14-minute mark. And against this composition, I want to see them improve on that. I want to see them avoid those early mistakes. Exakick and DOS pushing on the bottom lane, Certus pushing the middle. Actually, all three lanes for SK currently shoving into Vitality.
And I think this is a better solution for SK. When you touched on the goal difference we saw yesterday, I think a huge problem that we've seen for SK is they haven't been able to execute their game plan when it came into the best ofs. But Bo is hovering up towards this top side and maybe looking for relevant already. He's spot on a ward.
He's got that flash available to him. Bo's gonna try to thread the needle if he can. starts to apply that red buff and chipping away. Minions now turning to help out. Cocoon connects, Venomous Bite as well. Counter-Strike available, will land the stun. Bo goes forward, Leap Strike out. Irrelevant backed up by the army of minions. Now flashes, Photon's looking for the parlay. The long-range engage from Marcoon. Ends up being a trade. It's 1-for-1 as the sapling is tossed into the bush. Mid lane Certus is already starting to roam. And those minions are still pushing towards the tower. Photon, the focus of Marcoon, another sapling thrown out. Barrack Balkeg is put down and Photon starts to burn. And it looks like Marcoon may just have enough damage. Goes forward once again. 2 kills to SK.
I mean, nice start for SK. The fact that you actually get Marcoon pathing top here to help Irrelevant shows a very different style. Engage on bot side though as Exakick will just hop over the wall. But one of the things is every time we've seen Marcoon on red side, pretty much in groups, he is started on bot top side, cleared his entire top side camps, and immediately gone to bot. So I think Vitality getting caught out a little bit by the fact that Marcoon was there. Bo trying to help out Photon, play for his top side, and ends up giving over 2 kills now to SK.
One to Irrelevant as well as one to Marcoon. And this one started out pretty strongly. That ward just timed out as Bo stood onto it. But you have to expect that. You have to anticipate that.
I love what Irrelevant does here though. He just plays the minion wave. Like, that's a huge minion wave. And you can see Bo trying to stay in ranged for him so he can just keep chipping at him with the red buff, buying time for the Maokai to get up here. And Photon can't really do very much. You're level 2, you start a barrel, you don't really have a huge amount of damage to try and bring in here. So Irrelevant tries to get that last little bit of damage. Would have given him the level up as well, or sorry, the extra little bit of health there if he'd managed it. But Marcoon just follows Photon the whole time, trying to see if he can buy time for the TP in, but not able to do so. Bo back in topside though.
Right, no flashes available for anyone involved. Steps forward and the Cocoon goes wide. No connection. Once again, if you look at the minimap, Certus was making his way up top. Had that dive continued, Certus is already looking to respond, looking to react to the moves. And a very clear game plan here from Bo. Try to get this gangplank ahead. 2 ganks already at 5 minutes.
The thing is, though, if you continue to focus on this top side, look, obviously 2 carries top lane, they're going to be super happy with this. But you also have to be aware, bot side, starting to win out in favor of Exakick and DOS, right? They have the range advantage and they're still trying to use it. Kaiser trying to engage.
There's a lot of damage coming out as all of a sudden Kaiser now is running for his life. Exakick able to turn that around. Both of SK's bot lane is around 50% HP, no consumables available to them, and Kaiser is playing very aggressive, very forward, not allowing any of that double-ranged duo to get chip damage or to maintain control of the lane.
And I like that he's gone for the Glacial Augment in this lane. It means that you can get the slow, set yourself up, but it also gives you access to the Hextech Flash. So even if Kaiser wants to burn Flash, get the Flash gone on DOS, you can set up for the repeat play on boss.
Well, we're trying to take the bait. Trying to set up a bait play. Photon was backed up by Bo, still standing in the bushes. Drops the power to kick down. Marcoon here as well. No teleport available for Certus. Looking to find the chain, gets it. DOS is making his way to this top lane as well. And Irrelevant has hit level 6 ahead of Photon. Marcoon's going forward. Oh, there's everybody getting involved. The leap strike forward, counter strike. Not going to be enough damage just yet. And the pulverize sets up Bo to take down Irrelevant. Now the next target is Marcoon, and DOS will not be able to save him. 2 quick kills to Vitality.
I mean, there's so many roams going on here. Junglers are top, supports are top, but Vitality are the ones that end up coming out on top. You get the engage coming through from SK, and Vitality turn it beautifully.
I mean, what an interesting start to this game. 6 minutes in, and everybody is getting involved in that top lane. We haven't seen anything else from the rest of the game because Bo and Marcoon are just trying as their will to get their top laners ahead.
Do you know how refreshing this is, though? When everything's been about bot lane, this game's all about top side right now, and it's a really nice job from Photon, right? Plays this incredibly slow, waits for the moment when Irrelevant goes in. Bo has so much damage early that as long as Bo is here to match against Marcoon, they're going to be able to come out on top. The fact that Kaiser's here as well, just the icing on the cake to provide that CC to set up the double kill for Bo.
Really nicely done. And as soon as we jump into it, I want to take a quick second to talk about Photon unless there is an engage in this bottom lane. Looks like we will be good. I mean, Photon is one of the unsung heroes of Vitality. If you take a look at some of his stats at the bottom in terms of kill participation, kill percentage, damage per minute, he leads the league for his role in all of those. He's second in his role for goal percentage, forward percentage, isolated time. He's one of the players that has just had an impact and had a significant performance all winter long. but you don't necessarily talk about it as much because of every other player on the squad.
And I think the big thing is because it's been so much of a bot lane focus. Meta looking towards people like, Neon and Kaiser haven't been doing so hot. He does have to try and carry, but...
Chain of Corruption onto Marcoon, and will get chunked down. 3 members of Vitality on the jungle side of SK, but Certus hasn't been able to make his way down just yet. And an easy kill, they get the Dragon as well.
And this is why I want to see the Elise banned. Elise is so good at controlling the early state of the game, and it's been where SK have struggled the most. We saw them yesterday against Heretics, really not getting their footing underneath them in the early stages. They did bring it back in the mid game, but against a team like Vitality, I think they're going to have a much harder time trying to bring this game back, especially when you start to look at the ability for Perks to play in a side lane, Photon to play in a side lane, and try and punish SK before they can really get to that big team fight.
Well, right now, it's a 1,000 gold lead here for Vitality. Neon's left alone underneath the turret. 3 seconds, 2 seconds before the teleport is available for Photonics. Hit goes in, surges up and just donates that kill with the help of the tower. As well as that cannon barrage, easy reply back from Neon, and Bo is once again going top. But here comes Marcoon, thrown out the ulti, double root, but there's no damage, and easy kill once again.
I mean, 3 kills now for Bo. He is popping off in the top lane. Certus is too late to the roam. Photon should be able to crash this wave, and he'll back away. You're getting the kills on bot side. SK failed dive again like we saw yesterday.
I mean, that dive just looked horrendous as Photon is forced to flash into his jungle. Bo starts taking Twin Fang after Twin Fang, but the support, there's resources, there's backup here from Vitality. They build up another 1,000 gold. It's 2k up before 10 minutes.
And a lot of that is on this jungler, right? So now Bo gets to have those opportunities to not only just play an advantage that you have as Elise, but you've got nearly 1,000 gold under your back pocket, and Certus is in trouble.
Oh, hijacks away, petrifying gaze. Neither team able to find that stun. And Certus will now continue to slither to safety. Look, this has been a chaotic start to the game, and once again, another fight being set up in the top lane. I want to ask you, if this is obviously going to be playing here into Vitality's favor, how do they extend past this try to kill Irrelevant 100 times?
I mean, the big one is trying to use this Rift Tail to take down some of these side lane plates, and then you actually get opportunities to push inside with Photon, with Perks. But I think you've got to be careful, because a lot of the times with Kaiser roaming, Exakick and DOS are actually getting plates on that bot side and starting to kind of even up the fact that even though you've got 2 kills onto the Varus, you've actually got a massive CX lead for Exakick and DOS to play through.
Yeah, that advantage already at 12 CS, but because of the kills, it's a benefit here to Neon. Photon will be pushing this lane. Marcoon's still waiting in the wings. DOS is also roaming to this top lane. So Photon this time round may be at a numbers disadvantage. Marcoon's still standing around. You've got to consider the opportunity cost. They are looking to set themselves up, an easy kill as the Wild Growth is thrown down, and Photon is just chain CC'd to death.
But look at the bot side. You're getting completely pushed away. We're going in as Kaiser.
Kaiser! Exakick is trying to survive, but Bo finds the 4th of the game. Those tower plates you talked about starting to be balanced out.
And you've also got the Rift Herald here, so Vitality just get to take this bot lane turret if they want to. TP back from Perks to top side. I think Irrelevant wasn't expecting that, but I mean, this is Vitality now getting your win on top side and now rotating that to the bot lane as well.
This is a very intense pace that is being kept up. The next minion wave, conga lining its way forward. The tower will be secured. All of the plates as well as that gold. It's 1,000 in the lead for Neon.
I mean, this is a really big win for Vitality because they kind of conditioned SK to continuously go towards that top side. The fact that Vitality end up showing up on bot side, catches Execute going well. Great flash predict from Kaiser as well to get the headbutt back out from underneath the tower. And I mean, Bo, we already talked about it. I mean, Mythic completed. He has so much damage on this Elise with that Night Harvester.
I mean, gigantic lead already. And I think in particular, for Neon and Kaiser, I'm very happy to see how well they have played this game out. They were gifted a kill from Exakick, but in terms of the individual players, statistically, throughout the course of this season, it has looked like Exakick has had higher highs. And when they actually met during the regular season, it was a gigantic advantage to Exakick.
And I mean, that was kind of where SK were able to get their win. The fact that they were able to shut down Neon, provide X-Kick with the resources, and then win out through the team fights. That's not what's happening this time around. Vitality are controlling the early stages of the game, and they're getting to play out how they like it. They're going on towards the top lane turret now. They can fall back for the dragon that's in 20 seconds as well if they'd like to, but this kind of Vitality way, screw the dragons. We want towers, we want gold.
I mean, the benefit here, Dector, is they actually got that first dragon. They've also got the towers, so they've so far taken every major objective that you would want to throughout the course of the game. The second dragon is up, just like you said, in 10 seconds. And the thing for Vitality is they cannot afford to make any mistakes in the mid-game. The reason for that? SK are able to punish, and yesterday, that was how SK actually picked up the series win against Heretics. I don't think they were quite as far behind throughout the course of their games, but they've got that resolute, mental state. They don't give up, and with the champions they have, they can turn fights around.
And that's where I think looking at Marcoon now to try and use where the Maokai is now stronger is in these team fights. Exekick unfortunately doesn't have his mythic completed though. That would have been fantastic to try and have set up right now because it might have given you a little bit of an edge. But when you look at everyone on Vitality, the first item is completed and they want to try and contest.
Cannon Barrage is available for Photon. He's sitting just south of the river now, joining his team. Perks, no TP, no ultimate. He's trying to follow Irrelevant down, but the Nature's Grant fired out, and Kaiser's the one that tanks it. Irrelevant may not engage just yet. Here comes Perks from the mid lane, and the AoE is simply too much. Piercing arrow bursting out members of SK, and they're running for their lives. Counter-Strike will find a stun for now, and Irrelevant flashes to safety, but while they get the dragon, they may not be able to hold the tower. Wave clear is fired out there from Exekick, and with the minions cleared, it does survive for now.
The conga line is coming though. Next wave is here and everyone on SK has to reset. So this is going to be mid lane tower giving up. Even the TP to topside here for Certus to try and match something for SK on the map.
I mean, the amount of damage that came out from Neon's Varus, burning through the HP bars of SK, they simply could not stand and fight because they were melted before it began.
And I think this is where you can see how SK, if they want to try and close the gap, they don't actually have a huge amount of tools. It's just Marcoon, right? So in a situation where Vitality can kite back with barrows, with poke, they're in an okay shape. It's about trying to turn around Vitality overstepping.
Well, Vitality are the ones with 2 towers to their name, a 5,000 gold lead. The fact that that second dragon was secured by SK will at least delay the potential soul. And now, with the map being a little bit more open, SK are trying to get at least one of these towers down to balance it out with that standing gold.
And also just get control over topside. Rift Herald is about to spawn in 30 seconds. They want to try and push in top wave so they can drift with Marcoon now into river to get vision. But Vitality, they're already here. They're ready for the play.
They are indeed. Marcoon will just about escape the chains from Perks. He's hit level 11. He's down a minor amount of CS hit from Certus. And I think these mid laners are now going to start to be significantly more impactful. But I think a lot of pressure on Certus on this Cassio. He has to put a bunch of damage out, use the miasma to limit some of the tools for Vitality to move forward. But the margin for error is so slim with the gold deficit they find themselves in. And it just feels like SK have been playing purely defensive this entire game.
And the thing is, with SK not having vision, it becomes very hard for them to actually contest this, right? Because they're coming in from multiple different angles. Look where Zeri is. You can't really get this Marcoon. Maybe hoping for a Miracle Steal with the sapling, but I mean, there's no way that Vitality are going to give this one up.
Both top laners have teleport available. It will be secured here. The Rift Herald drops, and SK fishing. Maybe looking for an opportunistic kill. That ward that was placed earlier will at least spot Perks out, and the Nature's Grasp is a defensive one there, as it was hijacked. So easy secure on that second Rift Herald. And you can see SK waiting for a mistake, waiting for someone to be out of position, because they can't actually start it or go toe-to-toe.
But the waiting is the problem, right? Yeah. Like, you could have cross-mapped there. You could have gone, hey, you know, that's a nice juicy gangplank on the bot side. Maybe we could have made a play there, but instead, they invest all the resources top side. They get nothing out of it. Gangplank gets the farm. You get another hero going over towards Vitality, and they're immediately going to go top side. They want to try and get this last outer turret down. Bo will be spot on that ward, though, and Certus will immediately back away.
Okay, in terms of what you understand and have watched from SK all winter long, this deficit, this game, feels like a significantly harder task to come back from. But if they were to do it, how and where?
So one of the things that SK have started to do, which is something that like G2 and Koi have done a lot, is they'll just overload one side of the map, which is actually what you're seeing them do right now, to try and catch someone who's overextended, and it looks like Perkz is going to be that call. And might actually get him here, to be honest. Good pickup of the ultimate here on the Cassiopeia. Might give him a chance to walk away from this, though.
While this is happening, the rest of Vitality were grouping up towards the mid and bottom lane, starting to place those wards down. We're a minute until the next dragon spawns. So just like you were highlighting, Dagda, from SK's side, when there are the options or the ability to cross-map, they weren't necessarily taking advantage of them. Vitality absolutely are. And they've made it very clear. They want to set up, they want to challenge, and they want this next dragon.
Yeah, I think your best bet is to actually like try and move up into this top end of the map so you can make sure that there is a trade for the dragon. I don't think SK can really fight for this. You can even see Irrelevant just being completely pushed off of this bot tier 2. But if that's going to be the case, don't even fight for the dragon. Just try and push in this mid wave, which they're doing right now, and immediately collapse onto Certus in the top lane. Try and see if you can get 2 of these towers for yourself, or at least get something back, because you can see with the amount of vision Vitality have, it's nigh impossible for SK to contest. Certus even needs to reset with no mana before he can try and go for this fight.
Trying to shove that wave so much. His teleport just became available while Perkz used that to that mid lane tower. He's picked up the Zhonya's Hourglass. Medic was talking so much about that Roa level up timing and whether or not you can get it from 15 to 16. Level 12 on Perkz. The dragon has just spawned and no one from SK can really stand toe to toe. We'll be here just a little bit late, I feel. And where is Marcoon? He's going north towards that Baron Pit area. And again, SK will concede this one. Down 6,000 gold, 20 minutes into the game. And it is all Vitality thus far.
But again, what you really needed to be doing here was actually moving into this top side to try and get some vision set up, so then you can contest Baron with vision here and here. But the fact that, again, SK are kind of slow off the mark is meaning that they're not actually getting this cross-map play, getting anything back, so they can try and fight against SK and play around their vision. Exakick just taking poke as well means that he's going to have to back away, and Vitality just move from boss into top, continue to take over the map, and make it so difficult for SK to play.
I mean, spare a brief thought for the players on SK when you consider that this game has been absolutely breakneck pace. SK as an org has only played in 5 best of series since the LEC started, and I think the individual players, you have to respond. You have to figure out what's the game plan, what's the comms, how do we counter the punches that Vitality are throwing?
I mean, it's hard to when you're against a man like that on your screen, Perkz, right? If you add up the entire career of SK, every single player across the board, the tenure they have in LEC only adds up to half the tenure that Perkz has had in the LEC. This is a very new team, and Perkz is putting them in their place right now.
And all that chaos is also impacting the decision-making. SK will lose yet another tower. That's the 4th one that has been taken from Vitality's side. They'll be able to advance that vision line a little bit into the red side jungle of SK. Remember that every single time Vitality are left unattended. I do appreciate how they are setting up their next few minutes of gameplay by pushing that ward line forward.
But what I'd like you to do is draw a circle around any vision that you see on this that is blue.
Yeah.
Because like it's just everywhere. Whereas when you look at red, it's very, very defensive. It's all stuck right in here. There's very few areas that can actually go and try and contest anything that's far forward, and it just sets up very well for Vitality to continue putting the pressure on and making sure that SK can't look for good ultimates from Certus, set up for good appeal for Zeri. It's so hard for them to try and push forward right now, and Vitality are playing this perfectly.
Okay, so for Vitality then, how do they continue this lead? And do you have high confidence that they can execute the team fights? It is still a 7,000 gold lead, but there are nuances to some of these 5v5s in the objective pits, and if a Petrifying Gaze, if that Nature's Grasp can be used in advantageous manner, there is still a lot of damage for SK to follow up, but they cannot obviously get caught themselves.
I think when you look at SK, it's about getting to a 3rd item, right? I think if you can get around... Ooh, hang on, Perkz.
Take a look here. Running Spark thrown out from Exakick. Instantly replied from Perkz. Over the wall from Kaiser. Cocoon lands onto Certus. Now he's caught underneath that cannon barrage. And the Nature's Grasp used defensively, trying to find picks. But look at all of the ultimates blown, as well as the cleanse and flash from Execute.
I mean, but look across at Vitality, every ultimate is down. Multiple flashes are burnt as well. They are just as hurt. SK now need to get into this pit. Can Markuma flash make a miracle steal?
Find out as all of a sudden Irrelevant and Perks going toe-to-toe. Perks TP back into that tri-bush and flash defensively. Powder kick into the arrows, and Perks chaining this forward. Neon will be able to secure the kill. So the rest of SK are running for their lives. They use that Baron as bait and get another kill.
And again, Vitality just playing this well, making sure that SK are running into them blind so they can try and set up for good barrel chains, Neon with arrows. But even without the ultimates, you can see just how devastating Vitality are in this one. Vitality needed to get off to a good start, and they have absolutely destroyed SK's early game.
And it also creates interesting questions for the rest of the series. That top lane focus, the repeated ganks over and over and over, not something we've seen too much of in the course of the regular season. You can just see the amount of damage coming back. Unless SK jump in and find that kill, they cannot stand face to face.
I think you really need to get rid of this Elise for next game. I think a huge amount of the problems that we're seeing for SK is the fact that Marcoon can't match up to the early game strength. Vitality got control of her top side, and even the early leads meant nothing in bot.
Not at all, and Certus just using again that miasma to prevent any further engage. It's nearing that 10,000 gold limits, 2-3 items being secured on the side of Vitality, and 40 seconds until the next dragon is up. That vision line, once again, being set up before the dragon is started, before SK can get into a position to, push that mid lane or find any sort of priority. And the fact that Neon on this Varus is finding so much poke damage, hell, SK can't even get in range to fight.
And they're not going to. It looks like SK are just going to go, hey, look, we can't fight this. We're just going to cross map, see if we can go for this top tier 2. But the problem is Vitality don't actually have to fully commit to Dragon right now. Because Neon's got this poke Varus, he clears out mid-wave incredibly easily. They can then just send someone like or Perks even down to this bot side to take up a Photon now.
Well, a lot of invested. Cannon Barrage comes out and Photon will be killed. Certus picks up the first of the game. And in a 5 versus 4, where do SK make their next move? They still have to be very, very cautious. A lot of long-range damage. And CC can come out. They started off the Baron. It's down to 7,000. Chain of Corruption starts to spread as the hail of arrows continues to chip away. Nature's Grasp thrown out from Marcoon. He's inside the pit, but the chipping away, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. As Vitality have forced the majority of the team out, and now Vitality are in the pit. The lightning crash comes down, and that goes golden, as all of a sudden Perks will not be able to run. It's stolen! Bo gets the Baron! Certus is trying to use those fangs on Kaiser, while Perks is taken out by Exekick. That is a lot of gold secured, but the Baron taken away by Vitality.
The only person who still has it though is Neon. Photon was still dead, so Neon, the sole Baron carrier, as SK now can push mid and move down towards the Dragon, net themselves the second one of the game. So yes, the steal was nice, but giving all those kills to SK is a big win for the SK side.
The thing is it going to be enough? Because SK are still significantly behind, and they are relying on Vitality to either overcommit, be a little bit out of position, because frankly speaking, they just cannot stand, in a straight up head-to-head.
I think the big one is when they complete the third item, but we'll have a look at this fight here. So one man down already. You look at where Kaiser was positioned here for when Marcoon threw out the ultimate, it positioned really well to block Perks, but Exekick once more stepping up massively for the team. A huge amount of damage in the pit, gets on towards Perks. Irrelevant and Certus are doing a ton of damage on towards the Alistair, and yes, Neon is doing well in this game, but unfortunately he just doesn't have that consistent damage from this poke Varus to go against someone like a Jax and a Cassiopeia.
They find the kills, they find the Dragon. SK find another tower, and with only one member of Vitality still standing with that Baron buff, they're going to apply pressure in the top lane. Use that poke damage to chip away the members of SK, and Irrelevant with teleport available, level 15 under his belt, shoves the wave all the way to the inner turret. I will say that I do feel a little nervous here for Vitality. They haven't had the cleanest mid to late games throughout the course of winter. And SK have demonstrated they can win from behind. The damage is being put down as Certus steps forward. The petrifying gaze starts up Neon, and he's taken down. Kaiser will look to be the next target, finds a 4-man pulverize, preventing the further chase. The tower stands, the kill's secured, and SK are clawing back this deficit.
Vitality overstayed. They felt like they needed to force because Irrelevant was wailing away in that bot side turret, but now want to try and pick off someone, but SK aren't giving them that opportunity. Exakick, as I say, is...
Oh, the engage from Perks, and we'll at least get the flash from Exakick. He held on to that lightning crash. It's also level 16. The thing for Vitality, because they don't have that traditional tank or that traditional engage tool, they do have to be creative in how they force. They do have to look for those picks. And in that top lane tower engage, they were pushed back.
Well, you can see the combo for their engage, right? It's supposed to be Kaiser who sets it up, but the fact that he actually knocks Certus slightly away from the pulverize means that Certus stays up, Marcoon dodges with the twisted advance, and then they're just able to follow through. Perks was completely on the wrong side of the fight as well, trying to see if he could flank behind, but it's mistakes across the board, and there was no reason for Vitality to try and overstep. You had the poke from Photon, from Neon, but because they had no one matching Irrelevant to the bot side, they felt that pressure to try and make the play work.
3 items have been secured now for multiple members of SK. That gold difference down to 5,000, and when you get to the 30-minute mark, the majority of it is on Bo's Elise. So that's not going to have the most significant impact unless he's able to assassinate one player.
And this is where it becomes incredibly difficult for Vitality to try and assassinate anyone on SK side, because you look at Zhonya's on Irrelevant, Certus, you're going to have the safety net for Exakick in DOS as well. It's so hard for Vitality to now play out these fights because we've now hit that 3-item threshold, not even just withstanding the fact that Exakick has that Infinity Edge and is now pumping out damage.
Right now, SK Gaming waiting for the next objective. The fact that they were able to pick up those 2 dragons could be particularly valuable. There's 3 members of Vitality looking for Irrelevant. Gets caught by the cocoon, knocked up into the air. Buys a few extra seconds with the hourglass. Nature's Grasp goes forward, and Irrelevant survives. He flashes to safety. Now Bo is the next target. He's being bursted down by Exakick. Perks is now stepping forward. He's hijacked the Nature's Grasp. Will be able to at least force SK back. Get themselves that flash from Irrelevance.
The problem was, though, Vitality committed both TPs to try and make that play work. The fact they don't get anything means they're just wasted summoner spells, and I like the idea for Vitality. Drop top wave, just play off of 2 lanes, see if you can make a pick, but they end up over-committing resources, and honestly, that's a win for SK.
And of course, SK, the player that's helped them pick up so many wins, is Exakick. He was temporarily a couple hundred gold ahead of Neon. He's got a significant CS lead because of how far back he's been pushed. But right now, Exakick is going to be one of the players to watch in these team fights. He's able to position and use that movement speed and mobility on the Zeri. He can burst down and take down the very squishy comp from Vitality.
I just think it's hilarious to see SK again kind of having these miracle holds. We saw it yesterday in their series, now against Vitality, who traditionally in the LEC have been one of the toughest teams to kill, if not the toughest team to just put in the dirt. And now SK are giving them a taste of their own medicine as they spread it around the map. 30 seconds till Dragon, though. That's where the big focus is. Irrelevant needs his TP up and available, and it's not quite there just yet. He wants that one so that he can put pressure top, but still create the numbers advantage they have an opportunity to create because that double TP was blown just a minute ago.
The thing that I absolutely love about the entirety of this game is it is playing to expectation. We anticipated high levels of action. We anticipated aggressive stances from both of these teams. And we also anticipated some slightly suboptimal decision-making.
I think the 2 things I didn't expect, though, was 1, the Elise getting through, and 2, the amount of presence towards topside, right? Like, the amount of this game that was defined by the fact you got this early pressure top that then bled in towards things like the Rift Herald, where Vitality were able to snowball those early leads. But now you can see when we get towards the later portion of the game that that team fighting that we talked about for SK is starting to come online, and I think partly in fact because Vitality haven't found a way to really push through their side lanes, play through this 1-3-1 as easily as they'd like, and SK kind of fought them every step of the way to make sure they can't as easily close out this game.
Help test my memory here. I have this feeling that Vitality as a team have had several moments throughout the course of winter where they're a little bit disconnected, a little bit disjointed in terms of their communication, in terms of their engages. Like that top inner turret fight, for example. 4 members go in and Perks was a little bit further away. He wasn't able to be with the squad as they started. If those types of things happen this game against SK, it will be punished. And they cannot afford to not be on the same page together.
So I think the thing about Vitality has been they've been very good when it says turn, right? We want to go and fight, and then they're just able to hand stiff you essentially a lot of the time. And I think that's what Vitality are going to look at here as well, is saying, hey, we have the vision. Can we get the angles of attack? The poke coming through from Neon as well. Neon, though, separated mid, top side is being pushed in by Irrelevant.